Thank you so much for joining the webinar today. This is Siva Devaki from MassMailer. Today I'm going to talk about email alert notifications and how you can actually send it using MassMailer, but you're going to define this in Salesforce Flow Builder. Previously, I talked about Process Builder and how you do the same thing using Process Builder. But as you know, Process Builder is getting deprecated in a couple of years, maybe. So it is very important for you to migrate to Salesforce Flow Builder and then also understand how you can actually achieve the same thing using Salesforce Flow Builder. The functionality is pretty much the same. It just few things on how you create a flow and what flow designer have to offer. All of that is going to be, definitely much more flexible and more advanced than the Process Builder. So both have got its own advantages though, but Salesforce anyways, moving away from Process Builder, you definitely want to understand the flow designer. But this particular webinar, today I'm not really going to talk about, the Flow Builder tutorial. I mean, rather it's not a tutorial or a webinar for Flow Builder, how to send email alerts using Flow Builder. So we're going to focus on that. But rest of it, there are tons of videos and material if you actually want to get familiarized with the Salesforce Flow Builder. Many tutorials available from Salesforce and many videos on YouTube that you can watch and get trained yourself and get certified in that area. But otherwise, today we'll just talk about the email alerts via the MassMailer app. Yep. So what is the foundation, right? From MassMailer, we have provided an Apex class. Again, it sounds a little technical, but just safely assume that you're going to invoke a function or a component from MassMailer, which will take some input so that you can actually send an email alert, right? But theoretically, if you really try to understand what do you really need to send an email to anyone, right? Whether it's an app or or just regular email client, whatever. You need to know who you're sending email, and if you're sending an email, you're sending as like you, basically that's a from email address and the reply to, and you're writing a content, right? So very bare minimum things that you really need is like the target audience, what you're sending, who is sending. That's pretty much what you really need. If you want to send an email. Plus, additional things, maybe you need to bring in some data from somewhere, maybe the merge fields. Maybe you want to attach files, that's an extra thing. Maybe you don't want an unsubscribe link, that's an extra thing. Those are all additional properties anyways, yeah. So basically, MassMailer does provide you a way to send or populate or input all these properties that I just talked about, and then it'll send an email. And when you want to trigger is on you. So because the flow has got so many different options for you to select what you want to do with the flow. So that is something that I leave it on you. It could be a lead response. I mean, today I'm going to demonstrate the lead response email, meaning new lead gets created, and then how do you send an email alert? But in your scenario, it could be an opportunity is closed, and you want to send an email, or maybe you want to send a drip campaign, or maybe you have some custom object called invoice, and you want to send a reminder email on the invoice. Or maybe you have like a payment to be received and you did not receive it in maybe 30 days, you want to send a reminder. It could be a meeting and you want to, you have a meeting with someone, you want to send a reminder. Everything is designed in Salesforce and you want to send a reminder, you do it. Whatever it may be, right? So the use case scenario is going to come from your own company and the business, and how you want to design it, again, that's on you, the logic wise. And if you need support in building these components, we do have professional services that we can help you with. Certainly, we can take all the requirements that you have, and then we can design this flow for you end to end. That's not a problem. Okay, but that's a paid service. Just to let you know, right? So again, just going back here, what does MassMailer support? We provide an Apex class, and also we let you trigger these emails, whether it is a standard object or a custom object, both of them, not a problem. And if you actually want to send an email to the related object, that's not a problem, as you know, we do have that support. And you can also send via the campaign, meaning if you actually want to trigger an email to campaign members, but you want to do this at a certain date and time, maybe it is a recurring campaign. I don't know, whatever you come up with. So your ideas. So you can do pretty much anything that you wanted, but with certain limitations, right? But bare minimum, if you want to send out email alert, it could be a process workflow, could be anything that is going to automate certain functions. You think of it and see if that can be designed and built in Flow and keep going. And if you want to send an email, like a mass email to a Salesforce list view or a MassMailer list view, that feature is also available. So this again, a mass email. So this is very important, especially when you're sending a volume email. Then you would want to send an email to list view, whether it is Salesforce list view or MassMailer list view, or even use Salesforce campaign. That will let you send mass email. Again, when I say MassMailer supports drip campaign, what it means, like you basically can create your own drip campaign using Flow, and MassMailer will support sending an email alert. But the actual Flow logic is all done in Salesforce itself using the Flow Designer. So that's not something MassMailer gives to you, but we can help you if you needed to send a drip email using flows. We have professional services team that can actually help you with this. Okay. Today I may not be able to talk about the drip campaign. This is something that I can continue these sessions. So whatever you see here, I'm starting with a very simple email alert for a lead response. But other things that I'm actually talking about here is custom object campaign, list views, drip campaign. I will be talking about all those things as well in the upcoming webinars. So again, if you have seen the Flow Builder, it's quite intuitive as long as you have some technical expertise or admin level expertise. This is not an end user session, just to let you know. I mean, you can familiarize yourself that we support this, but if you are not an admin, Salesforce admin, you certainly would want to bring in a consultant or bring in an admin from your company or rely on MassMailer professional services team to help you with this. So, all we provide is an Apex class, as I mentioned. So you just have to invoke that Apex class, and it has certain attributes or properties that you need to populate. And then that's it. You enable that flow and you're good to go, right? And what all parameters are properties that we support? I've listed not everything, a few of them. From name, from address, to name, to address, reply to, that's the main thing. If you want to add additional people, additional to names, additional to addresses, you can do CC, BCC. You can give template ID or template API name. You can suppress certain email status values if you don't want to capture them, such as, maybe default you don't want to capture, just suppress it. If you want to suppress activity logging, Google Analytics tracking, click tracking, subscription tracking, or open tracking, you have an option. IP pool, if you want to send an email using certain IP address, provided you have more than one IP, you can use IP pool. You can attach files. You can also have email preferences. That is possible. You can schedule an email on a specific date and time. If you want to rely on MassMailer scheduled option, it's not a problem. You can send transactional or non-transactional. If you want to send a mass email, you can actually give the Salesforce list view API name. You can also send emails to campaign by giving a campaign ID and who you want to send this email, which campaign status or campaign member status. And then if you want to actually send email to a child object, let's say from account to contacts or opportunity to opportunity contact roles, you have ability to do that as well by giving the child relationship name and the child email field, which email field you want to send email to, and the filter criteria, the child filter criteria as well. So those are kind of very high level options that are available. And a few more, again, those are nitty gritty, so I didn't want to really mention every single thing that you could do, but you can certainly take a look at our documentation, and also, if you just look at the actual properties on that Apex class in the Flow Designer, you will also come to know what other properties are available. Okay. So let's take a quick look at the flow. Okay, so again, if you're familiar with Salesforce admin activities, you would click on this Salesforce setup, and then you type in flow, and there's something called flows. So you just try to click on that, and then you get the screen. You can create a new flow. I have something that I've already created. This is auto launched, and it is unmanaged. So let's say you want to create a new flow, right? And we're gonna give a name to this and define this for you. Okay, so we're gonna do a record trigger flow whenever we gonna get a new lead with certain criteria. You can do that, and you have an option to do freeform, auto layout. It's up to you how you want to do it, so it doesn't matter. And I would just give a name here. I would just select an object here called lead, and then what criteria you want to have. You have an option to do all, and, or, and you can also have your own conditional logic as well. So let's say last name. I'm gonna make it last name equals. So for an example, value as test, right? You can have that value, and that's my condition, right? And you just have to click done, and then you're good to go. And now you want to add a criteria here. Like add an element here. I'm going to call this as a new action, and then MassMailer, email via MassMailer. Okay, I will select that email via MassMailer option, and then I would just give a name here. I would just say send a lead response email. Right? That's it. And here I have an option to select the record ID. Again, as I said, this would be lead record, and then I'm going to select the lead ID. Okay, so that's what I'm going to select, the record ID, because I need to have a context on what I am actually, what am I doing? So I'm actually in a lead, and lead gets created. So I need to know which lead it is. So I need to pass the record ID. So that's basically a reference. Okay. And there are a few things here, as you can see, many of them are not required. So the bare minimum fields that you really need are from address, right? Let's say you want to send it to, or send from hello@massmailer.io. And let's say MassMailer is your from name, and then you don't need to select anything else if you will ask me. You can also do reply to And then you have an option to do to address and to name. So here we're gonna select to address basically from the record. And I want to select email field as my to address. So it says record.email, right? And then here record.id. So you kind of understand. So when I say record, it is basically getting it from the current record that is getting triggering this particular flow. So to name, the same thing. So I would just go to the exact same thing from lead. I want to pick the first name or the name that would be my to name. So what did I populate? I just populated the to name to address. And then you see here the reply to from name from address. That's the bare minimum thing plus the template ID. I have to select the template ID. So here I have an option to select template ID or the API name. How do you really find out? If you're using MassMailer template builder, we made it easy. So if you go to the template builder and select, say, MassMailer folder, and then any template that you may have created, and all you need to do is select the system information from here. You have a template API name and also the template ID. Either one of them is fine. And this is actually sending it to campaign member. I'm going to change this to lead because I would be using lead, right? So that's it. And I would just say save to Salesforce. Okay, now go back there. The template API name, and then enter the name. That's it, and set down. And you have this now. So as you can see, when do we trigger this? Record is created. And if you want to know the actual criteria, so the last name equals to be test. So that's when it is triggering this. And then what am I doing? I'm just sending a lead response email in this Apex action. So that's a very simple flow that you can create. So you basically save this. And then I give it a name. Just say lead response. Then save it. Go activate. And you're good to go. So whenever lead gets created and last name is test, I'm actually triggering an email. Now I'm going to go back to the flow builder. I know I have another lead response thing that I created. So I believe this is the one. I would just go lead email. I would just go there. And I'm going to inactivate this so that we have only one that is active. So deactivate, that's very simple. So just go back and all I have is just one lead response. The flow that I just created right there. And this is active. Now let's take a look. I'm going to go here. Click on this new. Last name test. MassMailer. And MassMailer.io. That's it. And save it. Right. So this basically would trigger an email, and then it would send an email to me from hello@massmailer.io, and that's it. That's very simple. So this is again a very simple use case scenario. As you can see, it is processed email status, and this is a demo email. This got triggered, processed, and delivered. All of that gets populated automatically. Just sent it now, right? And that's it. So if you click on this, you can also see that email that just got sent. So Everything is right there. And it also would create like an outreach record. Every single alert, we do create an outreach. So if you're familiar with MassMailer, you would know what it is. If you having too many workflow notifications kind of a thing, then you can always, auto purge, auto delete these outreaches if you don't want them. That you can schedule, not a problem. Otherwise, this is the kind of a demo I want to kind of give it to you. Again, I will be talking about other things that you could do, such as sending an email alert to the custom object, related object, campaign members, in a list view, drip campaigns. One at a time, I'll schedule webinars in the future and then talk about them. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat window. You can skip up. You can always talk, no problem. Any questions? There. Once again, this is a weekly webinar, and we publish this webinar topic on our website and also our social channels. Feel free to contact us if you have any further questions. Here is our contact information. And this weekly webinar happens every Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific. If you want to actually install a trial, if you're not a MassMailer customer, feel free to install it from our website and we can help you with the trial. And we're going to post all these videos to our YouTube channel. And please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and then type in MassMailer, you'll find us, and then just click on the subscribe button. So again, thank you so much for joining the webinar today. I hope you enjoyed the session. So you will be notified with the recording for this and also with the upcoming webinar topic too. Thank you again. Take care. Have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.